Oh, hold on. Let me move that out the way. Oh, okay. These Friday nights, I'm telling you, I don't know if Friday work because if you know me, you know one thing about me, I'm gonna keep my nails done. So I had a nail appointment um today. But hey. Let me make sure I got everything right this time so I can see y'all's comments. Because last week, I don't know what happened. Okay, let me see. Let me make sure. Okay. Let me make sure. I don't need that. Why did that be right there? Okay. How is y'all's week been? Are you looking forward to the weekend? Any plans? Let me see if the chats are going to show up. If you could chat me. I did a live stream just a little bit ago to try to test it out. So the videos and stuff. So we're getting there. We are getting there. Hey Tay Tay girl. I hope you're having a good Friday. I was okay. Whew, okay. All right. Hey girl. Hey. All right. The messages are here this week. I can see them. Thank you, ma'am. Hey. Hey Shay girl. How is your Friday going? Any plans for the weekend? Hello, hello. I hope you're having a good Friday. Amazing just now weekend with my mom. Oh, okay. That sounds fun. Hey! Oh, shoot now. We got Miss Edwards in here from the Big A. Hey, girl. Welcome. Come on. Come on in here, girl. Come on in here. um, Welcome. Okay, Manny and Patty, I like it. Yes, that is what I did. I like to go during the week to get my nails and stuff done, but I forgot to call her. And so when I called her, she was like, I got you Friday. I got you Friday after work. I was like, cool. So, I told my boss, like, look, I got an appointment. I'm gonna be leaving at 4:30. And he was like, I was thinking more like 4. I was like, say less. I said, why don't you go first next time, right? So, um, so yes, I love the Manny and Petty. And with your mom, tell your mom I said hi. How fun. Oh, y'all be cracking me up in these comments. I love to see it. Oh, that is so funny. Yes. Miss Morgan, you got plans for the weekend from the Big A? Um, yeah, I don't really have big weekend plans this weekend. I am trying to decorate my bedroom, and I've kind of been looking at some wall art and just kind of like looking different places, see if I see anything that makes me go like, ooh. And oddly enough, I was on Instagram and there's this big like art thing going on here in Houston downtown tomorrow. It's like a big art fest and something. So I was like, oh, well, come on, universe. So I'm going to try to check that out tomorrow just to see what they have. If anything jumps out at me that I'm like, oh, I got to have that. But that's pretty much the extent of my, I don't really have a lot of big plans this weekend. Just running some errands and that I gotta clean my house. That's important, for sure. Um, Let me see. What did you say you're into, Miss Morgan? You said, "Oh, I'm getting into a little bit." Okay, okay, I like it. Family, friend time. You know how that goes. Hoping for some me time at some point. Oh, yes. Me time is so important. Yes, even after you've hung out with everybody, try to get your own time is so key for sure. Um, Balancing that in for is definitely something that we have to take very serious. Is trying to really make sure that we are taking the time for ourselves. So I feel that too. Yeah, I get a lot of me time, so I'm gonna try to get some social time. There is a poetry thing too this weekend that I saw, a poetry night, and I used to really love poetry. I used to write poetry back in my day. I don't know what happened, but um, I may have to get some pen and paper out, so maybe check that out as well. Never seems like the time, but I can't complain much. Okay, well, it's all a balancing act as long as we're, attempting to try, or at least we're aware that, hey, I need to be balancing or make sure I get my me time in there. That's super key. So that's signs of evolving. And that is so funny because that is what I want to talk about. Ooh, poetry night where please drop the ad. It's on Sunday night, but I will definitely text it to you if you want to know. It's I can't remember where it's at. But I guess they used to do it and then they stopped, maybe COVID or something, the pandemic or whatnot. But because it's like bringing it back and people were all excited, like, oh, yes. So I was like, okay, well, hold on a minute. So I will definitely let you know. Yeah, I don't, yeah, the art thing and then possibly the poetry thing. That's pretty much it. Oh my, we getting some action in here tonight. Hey, you hey. Let me see who we got. What? Vegas. Let me see what's going on. Hey, from Las Vegas, Denver. Hey, Mikhail the Great. Oh, it says Mikhail Gathers. Oh, it said great. It was cut off. Hey, girl. Hey, welcome. Come on in, girl. Welcome to Friday Night Chats with. So far they have been girl chat, girl talk, but that's fine too. I mean, I'm excited to do it. I appreciate y'all supporting and getting on and chatting and messaging and everything. It's so exciting on Fridays. I really do love this. So, hey, everybody. Hey. Yes. Okay. We got Vegas. We got Denver. We got the Big A. Oh, that's Austin in the house. We got Houston. Represent y'all. Hey. Okay. I love it. Hey. All over. Yes. Hey. This is so fun. Oh, I'm definitely going to post this one. I don't think I've posted one yet. The lives. But I think maybe this might be the first one. Well, welcome everybody. Some new people on. And basically, the Friday night chats were just an opportunity for people to ask questions and for me to answer in real time. I get a lot of emails, and some of them end up being like paragraph responses sometimes. And so I thought, well, if I get on and actually give people an opportunity to ask questions or for us to chat about a video that you've seen or comments or anything in real time, it actually allows us to chat. And if you are new, then I have been working on how to do the streaming so I can get like, videos so people can come on and actually ask questions. So I think I finally almost figured it out tonight. I wasn't quite 100% yet to do it today, but I'm hoping next week I'll be able to. Next week. We'll have to think about that because there is an event that I'm doing next Friday. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. Welcome. Just kind of chatting about the week and the weekend right now. I didn't really have anything. I always say this every week. I didn't really have anything, and then I have like a whole thing. It's crazy. But anyway, we'll just go with it. I was at work this week, and they were doing like a birthday celebration for this girl. And the lady had asked her, do you feel older? And her response was like, no, I feel the same, kind of deal. And then another person jumped in and she was like, well, I just quit aging at 21. And I think she was maybe in her early 30s, the girl who said it. And she said, I quit aging at 21. I just stopped at 21 altogether. And, me being me, every opportunity is an opportunity to me. So my response was, well, we're always aging. The goal is to be evolving. And to me, it seemed like a normal statement, right? And the girl was like, oh, wow, I didn't really think about it like that. And I was like, well, yeah, you want to be like evolving. Aging is inevitable, right? Like we're going to age, number wise, right? We're going to keep getting older, but everybody doesn't evolve, like they just age. And there's a difference. And so for her, she was kind of like, oh my gosh. And it got me to thinking, because I say evolving all the time. And, is there a difference between just aging and evolving? And so that's what I was just going to talk about tonight. I would love to hear you guys' input. If you feel like, girl, no, it's all the same, or no, it's a difference, let me know. But my thought was, by definition, aging is the process of growing old. And if that's the definition, then we're going to age, period. We're going to grow old by the stance of just the physical sense of the realm and the world that we're in, right? Like we're going to age. We can't stop aging. Like we can take all of the serums and all of the everything, but like we're going to age. That's just going to happen. But evolving is totally different. And the definition of evolving is developing gradually, especially from a simple to a more complex form. And if you think about it, all living organisms evolve, right? If you put a seed in the ground and you water it, it's going to start to grow, right? Yes, and it's going to evolve into a plant, or it's going to evolve into some fruit or a vegetable or a tree or whatever it grows into, right? Because every seed is different. Something like us, like people, us, right? We're going to evolve into something. So it's also finding identity of self from within. And it is like improvements or refinements is evolving. Like all of those things are a part of evolving, which is very different from just aging. And a lot of people don't realize it, until you really start to look at not only yourself, but the people around you. Sometimes you can definitely tell people who are just aging compared to people who are really trying to evolve. Everything evolves. Like history has evolved. The technology that we use has evolved. Like when the first computer came out back in the day, and then it evolved. And then there was at one point you could only play, like back in the day at the school, we had like Oregon Trail and all that. You only had like the little 2 buttons. I mean, he had a whole keypad, but you like really played the game with like just 2 buttons, and you was like trying to get the people across the ocean and stuff. Like those computers have evolved into Chromebooks and iPads and laptops and all kinds of stuff, right? So everything's always evolving, and we as people should be evolving and not just aging. And you can tell people who are just aging because the mindset hasn't changed, right? The mentality hasn't changed. The day-to-day activities haven't changed. The way that they communicate hasn't changed. The way that they deal with conflict hasn't changed. It's all the same all the time, even though they're getting older. And even though they're 42 and even though they're like 59 now, like the same things are happening for them over and over in a repeated cycle. That's basically aging to me. Evolving is when you really are looking at yourself from a whole different perspective and really allowing yourself to grow and to evolve into new ways of doing things, like how you deal with conflict, how you communicate with people, your ideas on love and marriage, your ideas on friendship, your ideas on money, like things like that are growing and evolving as you are aging. So you can be aging and evolving at the same time. That happens. But some people just literally they just get older and they stop finding the passion or the excitement in life. They're just kind of everyday doing it. Now here's the thing, some people are going to be that way, right? Like we can't think that everybody's going to evolve into these masterful people because we are, right? Or because we know that all organisms should evolve. Eventually they're going to evolve into a ashes and ashes and dust to dust. Like that means like that they are going to evolve, okay? They're going to evolve. However, their lives are not going to actually evolve in a sense where they're going to get the most out of life and where they're really living their best life. They're just living. And one of my favorite movies, and if you know me, you know it's one of my favorites, is A Family That Prays, that Tyler Perry movie. I think that's his best movie that he ever did. You can keep all the other ones to me. That is the best. But there's a line Alfre Woodard repeats, and she says that Alice, which was the mom in the movie, no, that not Alice, she's Alice. Kathy Bates' character, she says, told her, Alice, are you living? Are you just living, or are you oh, I lost the train of thought of the quote. Oh no. But basically, she asked her, are you just here, or are you are you just that's it. Are you just existing, or are you living? And existing is almost like aging, right? You're just here. Whatever's happening is happening. You know, life is happening to you. You're just going with the flow. It's just here. You know, hey, I'm just happy to be here every day. There's nothing wrong with that. There are people who are like that. They are going to be 70 and they're going to still be doing the same stuff, say, hanging around the same people, still operating in the same everything. And, you know, oftentimes those people sometimes find themselves alone, or they find themselves with exact people who are exactly like that, just aging and like, well, in a minute, we're going to just kick the bucket and be the end of it. And that'll be 80 years for us, right? And then there's people who are growing. They want to keep learning. They want to try stuff. They want to get out and do things. They want to meet people, socialize, fall in love, have friends. Like they understand that life is not happening to them, for them. And then they're also understanding that they actually have the ability to create in their own reality through their choices and decisions. That's a big piece of evolving, is when you realize that, like, boom, what? Right? Okay, let me see. You know, my comments be going away. Okay. Yes, we probably all know someone that is real grown and what's happening? Where's my moderator? Who acts like a teen or much younger adult, sometimes even vice versa, younger but extremely mature, evolved. Yes, very much so. And that's just life, right? Like everyone's not going to evolve at the same time. Everyone's not going to get the same information at the same. Everybody's not going to understand things at the same time. But when there's a desire to do more than just exist, when there's a desire to do more than just age, that's when you actually give yourself an opportunity to evolve into something even more and even more grand than you even thought possible, right? Like, we look at people who tell stories because everybody has a story. Everybody has experiences and things that they've gone through, and some people, the end goal for them was to be rich. And you have people, your Tyler Perry's and Steve Harvey's of the world who, were homeless at one point, and then they just kept going. They had a desire to do more, to have more, to really push themselves and to see where they could really go, and not just be like, well, I'm just here. And it ended up paying out for them in a major way, right? And so now they've evolved into these great influencers and people that are well known, and all of that. And so it's super super dope in that aspect. But then of course you get people who, they're just like, this is just life, this is just what it is, and that's just it. And it's like, okay, stay away from them kind of people if you're trying to evolve and get to the next level. You know what I'm saying? You gotta stay away from those people. Mommy said go ahead and evolve, girl. Thanks, Mom. All right, shout out to my mom in the chat. Okay. um, what does evolving look like as a picture? As a picture. Oh, I feel like I kind of just gave some good examples, but I guess the best way to put it in a picture frame, in a sense where you can really understand, is that we as people are living organisms, just like everything around us, and everything is energy and mass, right? And it's all being used in power to create. That's probably abstract. Okay. So, like a plant, if you, we're all, yeah, we are all influencers, but you can't, we're all influencers. Yes. Yes. Agreed. Yes. Agreed. I would agree. Yeah, because everybody has a story, and everybody can actually help somebody else. And by helping someone else, you are involving yourself. Now, everybody's not going to be a teacher or a coach or anything, but by living your own truth, by sharing your story, by being willing to listen to someone else's, you are evolving yourself as a person to become more comfortable in who you are. And you're also influencing somebody else to do it, and to trust that there's better, or that people have gone through it. I'm not alone. I can keep pushing through to get to the next level. So yeah, we all have the ability to influence. There are people who influence the other direction too, very negatively, and they are influencing, and people are going down that path as well. So you have to be careful and know really what you are trying to, what you're allowing to influence you based off where you're trying to go and what you're trying to do. That's going to be important, for sure. Much like I said, like a seed, if you plant a seed in the ground and you plant it, it's down there, right? You know that you have planted this seed, and you're going to water it. It's going to get sunshine. And eventually, over time, by taking care of it, by putting into it, by pouring into it, it's going to start to grow, right? It's getting all of the things that it needs. Of course, the wind is going to come, and it may knock it out. Of course, it may get too much rain and it could flood it out. It may have to start over. It may take a little bit longer to regroup, but that is, ooh, I like a good disagree. Okay, hold on, let me get there. It's, if you're giving it the right tools, right, the right things. If you plant something and you realize that, oh, I'm pouring tea in this, new plant that I got at the house, or Coca-Cola, and it's not doing what I think it should do or what I want it to do, you're going to change that, right? Like, okay, let me try something else. Let me try some water. You're going to maybe go out and look and see that somebody actually enjoys plants, and they know something. They can share the information with you, and you can use it to water your plant to eventually grow it into what it's meant to be. And that's who we are as people. We start out as little seeds, and we can just age and just see what happens. And like eventually, like I said, you eventually get to the end, whether that's old or young, you're eventually going to get there. It's what you do in the middle that makes the difference, that shows evolution in a sense. And so if you are putting good stuff in it and pouring on top of the plant, which is you, then you're allowing more things to come in that are going to be beneficial to you to help you actually evolve, which in turn helps you to live a lifestyle that you truly enjoy actually living, where you get the most out of life, which is my whole goal and plan for myself and anybody that I coach or talk to, is how can we become our best selves, the best versions of ourselves, so that we can go out and actually evolve, so we can actually go out and enjoy life and not just be aging and watching life happen to us. Because we've seen so many people do it, older people, we've seen people just do it where they just don't take any real action. They feel like, well, this is just life, this is just how it is, this is just what it is. And their lives actually reflect that. And then you look at other people who are like, no, I'm growing and I want to get better at this, and I want to, okay, I bumped my head there, I'm going to keep going. And their lives reflect their evolution as well. So it really comes to that. Okay, let me see the comment I had here. I seen it. I didn't see. Let me see. I disagree. Everyone has a story, but not everyone has the ability to take that story, pick apart the lessons, influence others with the information without telling someone what to do, like a parent. True. Everybody's not going to be a teacher or a coach or anything like that, but sometimes just by sharing your story, you influence a person. I think. And I say that in the sense that it could be a good influence, it could be a bad influence, to be honest. Just by and how a person takes your story, or how a person interprets what you have told them and taken that into their own lives, is for them. However, it's an influence. If I tell you that, I used to I don't know. I used to, let's just say like something loud. Let's say like, oh, you need to make money. This is what I used to do to make money. I used to, oh, Cardi B and them. Oh, Cardi, good one. Cardi and all those, the stripper girls. I don't know if it was Cardi in particular. Hold on, because Cardi will come and sue somebody quick and be trying to garnish your bank account and stuff. So I don't know if it was Cardi for sure, but I remember around the time the strippers stories was coming out. So Cardi, girl, not saying it's you, but y'all remember the story where the stripper girls were, it was in the movie with J-Lo too, they were taking the guys and they were charging up their cards or whatever, when they were in the strip clubs or whatever. And so if that was my story and I was like, girl, to make money, what I did, back in my time, I used to go and, get people drunk and then, drug them and then take their money and this, that, and the third. It's my story, right? Like, it's me telling an experience that I had. Now, for you, if you're like, oh, I need to make some money, that probably influenced you in a negative way, right? And that same story can influence somebody else in a different way and be like, okay, I don't think I want to go to jail or nothing, but what I heard is multiple ways out here to get money. Like, okay, let me think from a different perspective, or you know what, just keep hustling and keep doing it. So I do think we all have the ability to influence people, but you don't have to go into it by saying, I'm trying to influence you. Like, I want you to do this. It's by sharing your story, you give someone else hope or the comfort to know that they're not alone, or that other people have done this and this is what other people have done, or, oh, that sounds like not a bad idea, I'm gonna go try it, and come to find out, oops, I don't want to do that. So I do think so. I think it's a difference between if you're just sharing your story because you are just sharing your story. It's a truth, it's you, it's what has happened, and you just never know what it's going to do for somebody else. But if you're intentionally trying to tell people what to do or tell them that they need to be doing this, that, and the third, based off of your experience, and you're trying to influence them in that sense. I guess it gets different, but parents, I mean, that's what parents do, though, I guess. Like, most parents are going to try to tell you what to do, because they've gone through experiences and they are trying to help you avoid things. However, again, your parent can tell you an experience or something that they did, and you can learn from it because they shared it. And maybe you don't do steps 1 and 2 the way they did. Instead, you do 1 and 2 this way. And it ends up helping you because now they've shared something with you, and now you know not to do that. And so that is an influence in a sense that, yeah, I know not to do that, I guess, would be one way to look at it. But I can see where you can say, like I said, I don't think everybody's meant to teach people or to get up and really be able to do it, because there is a fine line between influencing and then trying to really tell people what they need to be doing. Um, Okay, let me see. This makes me stop doing that. I don't know how to do this. Okay. In my journey of moving and adulting, I'm understanding what you mean by aging and evolving. There are a lot of people stuck in their ways. Very much so. Yes. There are a lot of people stuck in 1940. There are a lot of people stuck in 1990. They're not coming forward with the times. They're not trying to evolve their own situations. And a lot of it comes from fear. I think some of it is fear of the unknown, right? That's literally what fear is. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. I'm scared. But you have to be willing and wanting to take that chance, right? And some people will never, ever be willing and wanting to take that chance because fear will always override. And when that happens, then they project their fear onto people who are trying to do new stuff, and people who are trying to move, and people who are trying to go forward. Well, I wouldn't do that. Well, you know what happened to me? Well, ooh, child, that's bad. Oh, I sure, oh, hell no, right? Because their mindset can't even fathom where you're going, because their internal work they're not doing. They're not evolving as a person in their own right. And you notice when you get older, a lot of, the 90s was lit. And it was, I was about to say, because like I'm still stuck in the 90s when it comes to like music. Yeah. R&B and all that. Yeah, I'm like a 90s R&B all day, every day. Kid you not. I listened to, what was I listening to? Oh, the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack the other day. Why is that still knock? It is 2022. And I mean, from beginning to end, didn't skip not one song. And I mean, I sang my little heart out. Okay. So sometimes, sometimes we can get stuck, in some errors or some ways where we feel comfortable. It brings you a sense of comfort to stay there, right? The music reminds me of my childhood, or the love songs were love songs back there. We don't really have a lot of that now. So there are some things, but even in that, my mindset towards relationships and dating and men and things like that have evolved than what they were in the 90s, even back then, listening to the songs and the music that I was listening to, right? So there's growth that's happening in there, as opposed to just being stuck there and like, I never want to hear any other type of music ever again in my life, right? So, but yes, the 90s were lit. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I was just a little youngin'. Just a little youngin' in the 90s. I didn't really know what was ahead of me, but I was living my best life in the 90s. I have to worry about nothing. But yeah, I think definitely, we evolve out of friendships, we evolve out of jobs, we evolve out of neighborhoods, we evolve out of a lot of, we start learning about awareness, and we start having to take accountability for the things that we've done, if we're, our own actions, our actions towards others. You start really, apologizing if you need to. You start letting stuff go. Those are all signs of evolving. You start really trying to find your peace. You start trying to figure out what makes you happy, what really works for you, as opposed to what everybody else is doing, what works for everybody else. Those, those are things that are key to being able to get to the next levels in life. And those are signs of those are signs of evolution personally and internally. And I mean, really, what would life be if things were not evolving? Like, serious question. Like, what would life be if things weren't evolving? We'd still be stuck in the 90s, listening to 90s music, listening to not like we'd still be in the 90s, right? If that's wherever, right? Like, things are meant to evolve, and we as people are meant to evolve as well. The tools, the knowledge, the environments, it's all set up for us to actually evolve in life, and not just, but we have to be willing to want to go out and do it, or otherwise we do get stuck in just aging and watching life kind of happen, as opposed to being a part of life. And evolving is being a part. Yes. Oh, waiting to exhale. Yes. Sorry. And right, that soundtrack still goes. Like, you just want to hear some good music, you just put that little album. I mean, it has some heavy hitters on it. Okay, like, that was a good one. But that's what I think personally. Now, of course, you don't have to agree, or life can just, no, Sierra, everybody just ages. There ain't no separation. Y'all putting too much on everything now. That could be your thoughts too. But if you take a look at your life and take a real minute to look at just from your childhood, teenage years, to your 20s, to your 30s, to whatever age you're at, if you really take a moment to look at it, you can look at your friends, and you can look at family members, you can look at people who you feel like, wow, they just really here, like, just here. They're just here. Like, well, she ain't changed in 20 years, legit. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, they could totally be fine. Some people will be great with that. But then if you look at yourself and you look at some other people around you, you can see how they've evolved and grown, and you can see it in yourself. And if you are a subscriber to this channel, I know you are out there evolving. I know you're out there getting it, because that's what this whole channel's about. So I know it's happening. Sometimes we are a little hard on ourselves because we think we're supposed to have everything done all at once. But it's a process, right? Like, you're going to evolve, and you're evolve into different things. Trees. I have a tattoo of a tree on me because I realized that trees evolve. They evolve. And trees go through, if you notice, trees go through all 4 seasons with us, right? Like, there's one season where the tree is full, it's got leaves on it, it provides lots of shade, it's green, it's beautiful. It's like, look at the trees over there, right? Like, wow. And then there comes a time when it goes into like fall season, and the trees start to change colors, and they start to lose a little bit of leaves. It's still a tree. It's just evolving into a different set. It's going through a different season right now. And so now it's going to do something different in the fall. It's going to look different, right? And then winter comes, and then all the leaves are gone altogether. The snow, if you live in a place that snows, the snow is like falling between the trees, sitting on the branches. There ain't no birds in sight on the tree, but it's still a tree, and it's standing. And if it gets too much pressure on a tree, on some of those branches in like the snow, or a tornado or rain, the branch will break off, right? And it will break off, and then we don't go back and put the branch on. Like, it's gone. The branch is now evolving into something different. It's going to go be used to do something different, which probably now it's been picked up, and now it's going to go to the place, and it's going to become paper or something. If you're out in the wilderness, somebody going to take that same branch and turn it into a little canoe and be down there on the river floating off that canoe, right? So it goes back and get ready for spring, and so it starts to ramp up, and the leaves start to come back a bit, and the color starts to come. It's not full there, but you see it coming back. It's evolving through the seasons, but it's still a tree. It's doing different things at different times. It's going through different weathers and elements as it's there, but it is still rooted into the ground and is still doing what exactly it was designed to do, which is provide oxygen for us so that we can breathe down here on this planet. That is the real key of a tree, by the way, which I do got it tatted on me. But it's just like that. That was the picture of evolving. Where's mommy at? Brittany, tell mommy that. I mean, Mikkel, tell mommy there's her picture of evolution of evolving right there. But friendships, if you look at friendships, relationships, they're part of the tree. Family, they're part of the tree, but sometimes too much pressure, too much of anything could break those pieces off and they go and evolve into something totally different. It's still important. It's still valuable. It still has meaning. It still has purpose. It has now just outgrown this piece of what it was doing in life. We're much like that, right? Like we grow through life, we're evolving, we're taking on what's happening, we're figuring it out, we're navigating, but we're always rooted and planted. We should always be rooted and planted into something solid, into something, into ourselves, into our standards, into our beliefs, into our morals, into who we are, into the universe. So there's evolution. And of course, through all of that, the tree has aged. Woo! Telling you, that was good stuff. I'm telling you myself, that was got me like, dang, Sarah. Dang, chatting. So that would be what I would think. Let me see. I seen a comment I think I missed. What advice do you have for people that intentionally try to hold themselves back or delay their evolving? I tell them that they're going to end up aging. I tell them they're going to end up aging. They're going to look up and be 80 and be like, where did life go? What did I do? For some people, that's just what it's going to be. For other people, their purpose in life, what they were set here to do, is going to make them evolve anyway. Like, because they're going to get so uncomfortable in that old space. It's going to be so much friction and so much toxicity and so many things not working and so much conflict going against you that you're going to want out of it, and you're going to have no choice but to take a hold and go forward. And then that you're going to evolve. That's evolving. Like, so in some senses, people get stuck. Like, all of that happens, and some people just get so comfortable in it and like, well, this is just my life. Like, everything happens to me all the time. Like, there's this and there's that. And the answer is, you're supposed to be moving. You're supposed to be doing something new. You're supposed to be pushing, learning, growing. You're supposed to be doing something. But when we don't do that and we stop and we just get comfortable in the mess and in the drama and in the normalcies of everything and the conditionings of everything, when we do that, then we just basically tell ourselves, well, this is just it. And then life just does happen. Like, then it just does whatever. And you just kind of in it. And those people are people who something is always negatively happening to them. They're always in some situation that makes zero sense. They can't never figure out how to get life going and go. So then they just go with whatever. Fine. This is it. This is where we're at. And that's a choice. Again, that's a choice, because the other option is to decide, I don't want this. I want more. How do I get to the next level? How do I get more? And usually even in that right there, the key step that a lot of people miss and a lot of people don't want to do, especially in different cultures like the Black community, is ask for help. For some reason, when people are in that toxic and all of that, and they want out or they're trying to get to the next level, we don't want to ask for help. We want to figure out how to do it ourselves. And for most of us, you can to a degree. However, we were not designed to be people to live this earth and to do all of this by ourselves. If that was the case, you would have just been born like, boop, you're just a person. Like, you didn't come from anybody. You didn't come from parents. You just ended up on the earth and you're just here. There's no connection to people. Everybody walks by one another and we don't talk to each other. We just magically have everything we need and we never need anybody else, right? We were designed to help, to have interaction, to be social with one another. So in trying to solve, one of the first things in it is knowing when you need help and being able to ask for it. It's also going to be important to know who to ask and where to go. That in itself is going to be evolving because you're going to ask somebody for help and they're not going to know what to do, or they don't want to help you, or they're not interested. You just learned something about these people. You just learned a lesson there. It's not a no. It's to somebody else, into another area where you can actually get the help that you need. So I would say if you're holding yourself back for the sake of other people, to not surpass other people, if you're holding yourself back because you going forward means that people may look at you differently, or they may treat you differently, or they may walk out of your life, I would say right there is where you need to start. Because if people are afraid or people don't want to see other people grow, you're in the wrong circle. If you are in a circle where your people or the people around you do not want to see you grow, they're not trying to grow, you're in the wrong circle. And if you continue to hold yourself back, everybody around you that's going to eventually you're going to attract. The only type of people you're going to attract are people who also don't want to grow. And then eventually everybody's going to be sitting there and everybody's going to get comfortable, and we're only going to hang out with each other because none of us are growing, and we're just going to keep telling each other that it's okay and it's fine. And then when somebody goes out over here, it's a conflict with other people because, well, that's not what we do. That's not where we're at. So then everybody stays right here. And then that's all you attract is everything that's right there on that level. I think right now, what is everybody, the thing this week was the low vibrations. It's a low vibration plate. Those are low vibration friends. Those are low vibration thoughts. Hello, welcome. Hi, Miss Hardy 99. Welcome. Hi. So that's what I think. I think that, we really have to get to a place where we are thinking of ourselves, obviously, right? Like, we are important, we matter. What we're trying to do matters, our growth, our evolution matters. But at the same time, we're so separate, and everybody feels that they're so separate, but really we're all connected. Like, we're all connected. It's all connected. Like, everything is connected. And even in me become my best self, and even in me trying to evolve and go out here and live this lifestyle that makes me happy, the lifestyle that I want probably does not add up and match the lifestyle that the media tells me or society tells me that I'm supposed to have in order to be considered successful, happy, and all those things. I pretty much want to do something totally different. And some stuff I still do want to do like everybody else, but it's not as a high priority. However, even in me trying to become my best self and doing the work on myself, I realized that I'm connected to everybody else, and everybody else is connected to me at the same time. And yes, I'm doing the work, but for me not to want to help or share or to encourage somebody else means that we all end up suffering. And look at the world that we're in right now. We got people everywhere, up, down, over here, people fighting over everything because nobody realizes that we're all connected. If I learn how to be a better communicator, and when I talk to you, I'm a better communicator, you'll pick up on that, and then you'll go and become a better communicator over there. Not because I told you to become a better communicator, but because you realize that, hey, that was a good conversation. I would have had that conversation with somebody else, and that would have went a totally different direction. I like the way that felt. I'm going to try that over here. And it continues to keep going, right? And eventually, what if all became good communicators? What if we all knew how to handle and deal with conflict? It would change the dynamic. So even though we're working on ourselves, we're all connected, and everything that we're doing internally, the people in our circle and around us are going to be influenced by it, especially if you're moving in your most authentic self and you're being yourself, because you're giving them the encouragement to be themselves because they matter, their purpose, they have a purpose, they're on a mission here in life as well. And we all are, and eventually it all comes together. If that made any sense at all, I don't know if that made any sense. It made sense in my brain, but I don't know if it did. But we are all connected. Like, that's real. Like, now that is real. Let me see. How do you maintain a friendship with someone that isn't evolving even though you are? How do you maintain a friendship with someone who isn't evolving even though you are? I think the first thing is we have to accept people where people are. I think you have to understand where a person is and understand where you are, right? Like, okay, I'm trying to evolve. I'm trying to get to the next level. I'm working on this. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to smash goals. I'm whatever, right? And then you have people who are kicking it, chilling, or whatever, right? They're not on the same line, but realizing that and saying it's okay that they're not at the same level I am, because we all don't evolve at the same time in the same way. And sometimes people evolve through separation. Sometimes we actually have to separate ourselves from people and situations when we are on a mission or when we're trying to do something and it's too much of a conflict. If a person is not evolving, we can't make them. We can't make them. You shouldn't be making people feel bad because they're not evolving. Well, you're not evolving and I am. And, that's why your life is terrible because look at what I'm doing compared to what you're doing. Where they are in life on whatever level they're on, that's where they are at and that's where they're operating. We can want to help them, but if you're trying to help them, you have to be also understanding of where they are and being receptive, understanding, is this a time to say this? Is this not? Which again, those would be people who like to coach and teach and stuff like that. So that would be really paying attention to that. But even in a friendship, it's okay for people to be going in different directions. If you are able to recognize that they're just not on the same level that you're on, you're still a friend. Maybe they're an associate. Maybe it's just not a close friendship as it was before. Still love you, still going to show up to big events, but we're just not as tight. That's okay, because sometimes hanging around the wrong people, holding on to the wrong relationships, stop us from actually getting to where we're trying to go, because the universe, God, however, will hold back blessings, will hold back your manifestations until you remove certain people, certain situations, certain things out of your life. So sometimes it's not so much about maintaining the friendship as much as it's recognizing where you are and where they are and saying it's okay that right now we're not in the same place. I'm going to go this way and you go that way and we're still cool. We can still check in, but it's just not that. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes people legit have to separate, and then it's not the end. It doesn't have to be like you guys are never going to be friends again because of that. They may evolve on their own and you're evolving and you guys meet up in a couple of years and it makes sense now and you guys needed that space. I mean, it happens all the time. I've had friendships like that where I had a really good friend and we were like tight, and then her life started going in a different direction, and I really wasn't like, I wasn't against her life. It just, I was like, And I don't have no right to be like to somebody else's life and their choices. But I knew that what I was trying to do and what I had envisioned, that didn't really align. And where she was going, what she was trying to do didn't align with what I was doing. And so we just kind of like parted ways a bit. We were still cool, but we weren't talking every day. We weren't seeing each other all the time. There was like Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday, how are things going? Good, you kind of deal for about, I would say like 2 years, maybe. There was no bad or anything. It was just I was doing me and she was doing her. And then I don't really remember how we got back on, but something happened and we reconnected, and the friendship didn't go back to how it was before. Friendship is not like it was before because she has evolved and I have evolved. The friendship dynamic now is stronger and it's better. And I believe it did that because we took the time to separate, even though we didn't think we would ever separate. I mean, but it just happened. It was just life. And in order for me to get to where I am today, I had to do that. I've also noticed cutting off friends that I've cut off friends that I have held on to for so long. And as soon as I cut them off, or as soon as I like, okay, you know what, I'm backing up, no more, I'm good kind of deal, something good happened. Like something I've been waiting on came through. Like, what the hey? Well, because what I'm trying to give you and what you're trying to manifest, sometimes you don't have the right people around you. So it's not so much maintaining as much as it's trying to figure out and being okay with things changing. Nothing in life is permanent or guaranteed. Nothing. Nothing. Nothing in life. And we hold so tightly to things because of that, because we know and nothing is guaranteed. So we hold on and we hold on. But sometimes we need to have experiences. We need to have moments, situations, relationships, jobs, these lessons and things. We need to have them for a time. And then we need to learn to let go so that we can go to the next level, so that we can keep going and keep opening and keep unlocking doors and keep manifesting the things that we really, truly want and continuing to bring in matters to us. And so I would not personally look at it in a negative sense because they're not evolving in the way that you believe they should be evolving, because they're probably evolving. They're probably evolving in a different direction though. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It happens. We have to know that while we're trying to evolve and while we're trying to get our lives together, while we're trying to become the best versions of ourselves, and while we're trying to, live our lifestyles and set boundaries, and while we're trying to smash goals, and while we're trying to do whatever, survive. Oh my gosh, while we're trying to survive, somebody else is doing the same thing. They're trying to evolve. They're trying to grow. They're trying to survive. They're trying to set boundaries, or whatever it is that they're trying to do. They're trying to do it too. And it may look different than what you're doing. It may feel different. It may sound different. And that's okay, because they're different. Their situation is different and their journey may be very different from yours. And you cross paths for whatever reason in time when you did. Woo, okay, all right. Miss Morgan, let me get something to drink because you got my throat dry. All this talking. I do like to talk though. Okay, the girl can talk, I'll tell you. Oh, nice and refreshing. Okay, I got like some little cookies here too. I haven't even had one yet because I've just been talking. I probably don't need one because I had a cupcake at work the other day. So, okay. Let me see what, how do you navigate going through an uncomfortable evolving period in your life? Oh, these are good questions. Um, how do you navigate it? I listened to a affirmation video um in the mornings, and it's called Everything's Always Working Out for Me. And it's by Abraham Hicks. And it's a really good one. I listen to it every day, and it has changed my life dramatically. Just FYI, anybody looking for that. But in it, she says that I know that my life, just like the ocean, my life has ebb and flow too, right? Like there's going to be waves, right, in life. And the best way to navigate through those uncomfortable times and moments is to recognize that it is that. It's an uncomfortable time. It's an uncomfortable moment. I am navigating something, and being compassionate with yourself, being patient with yourself, allow yourself to know this is where I'm at. This is what's happening. Okay, great. What am I learning? What can I do right now? Should I just be still? Eventually, you will start to create and be able to ride the waves as they come, and trusting and knowing that it's all a part of a plan. It's working out because you have signed up to do the journey, like, right, you're trying to get to the next levels, and as you are unlocking levels, oh my god, just like the video game video I did, as you're unlocking the levels, there are things on each level that you have to go through, right? There are tasks, there are challenges, there are in video games, there's like an enemy or something you got to fight, or like, there's obstacles, right, on the level. And sometimes you repeat that same level like 5, 6 times. Like, remember Super Mario back in the day? I was so good at Super Mario. But when we got to that water and you had to and it had the little things going. Oh my god, it took me forever to pass that. Forever. I could not ever, it just was forever. If I play Super Mario today, I probably could get like all the way through until I get right there. And I'm going to still probably be like, what in the world, right? Life is like that. We are going through levels and we're unlocking levels. And in those levels, there are going to be easy moments where you're like, oh, this is easy. Boom, boom, boom. This feels good. This is good. Like that. Thank you, universe. Hey, yes, we in that. Woo. And then there's going to come an obstacle that is going to require you to use some of the actual tools, some of the actual extra lives that you've gathered from the other levels that you've unlocked and that you got to bring into this level in order for you to get over this obstacle. And it's going to happen like that, right? On the levels. It's going to happen like that in life, right? The idea that life is just going to be perfect all the way around means that you're not really evolving and growing, because you're doing the exact same thing over and over and you're just doing it and it's just going fine and there's nothing happening. So it's great. You're just there. In evolution, in evolving, things are going to change. And so being able to recognize that I'm in a space that feels uncomfortable. I'm in a space that, okay, this is weird. Eventually you're going to keep feeling that, right? So you're going to be able to recognize it, and you're going to start noticing, okay, this is a time when I write. This is a time when I really go into meditation real heavy. This is a time where I really spend time with friends, or I really step back and don't, talk to a lot of people right now. I'm really to myself, because you're navigating some of that and you're learning, the levels. You're understanding, okay, this is the time when I do this, because you've picked up these tools, you've picked up these traits, characteristics to help you through life, right? Navigating uncomfortable shifts in the time of evolution is really being able to figure out how do you stand grounded and firm in yourself and into the trust and facts and beliefs that you're designed for more, your life has more for you, that this is just a passing thing, this is just something to learn from, this is a repeat of a cycle to see if you've actually got the lesson, to see if you can actually get it this time, to see if you pull out a different tool that's available to you. When you be playing video games and you get to do like, okay, A, B, X, then you hit like XXO, and then like boom, everything goes like, that's life, right? You can continue to fight the same dragon the same exact way. Eventually you'll beat the dragon and go on. You may decide, oh my gosh, I got such and such. I remember that in the last level, I got this unlocked. I can use this time. This time you try something totally different. Maybe it takes you only 10 minutes to beat the actual dragon, because you remembered that you got a tool that you can use. And so it makes it a little bit easier. So now you're ready to keep going, and then the next level will unlock and you'll do it again. Like, that's what life is. We're always going to be going through the ups and the downs. We're always going to have fall, summer, winter, spring, unless they keep messing up the climate and stuff, then who knows what we're going to have. Like, then we're just going to have, I don't know. I just hope that if we get stuck in a season, it ain't snow everywhere all the time, because that would just, anyway, I'm just saying. So that's what I would say. I don't know where I just went with that, but that's what I would say about navigating it, is understanding that this is part of it. This is those uncomfortable moments is why people quit. It's why people stop evolving. It's why people stop chasing dreams. It's why people stop fighting for marriages and relationships. It's why people stop showing up in their lives or in the lives of other people. It's because things got uncomfortable. Things became unfamiliar. Things started to challenge them. Things started to not go right. And instead of pushing through, they just said, well, screw it, forget it. Just never mind. It ain't even worth it to me. I'll just stay here. I'll just do it. It's fine. Nope, I'm good. I don't want to. No, And a lot of times, to push through and to get to the other side, it's always so much better. But it does take a level of understanding that that's where you are. Being compassionate with yourself. This is where I am. This is where I'm at today. This is what's happening. And it's okay for me to be here. And eventually, it's going to continue to go. I mean, you have to think, we're already in our heads about everything, right? And then you think we are on a planet, and then you have a universe of stuff that's going on. You have planets that are orbiting around this, around the sun, and the sun is orbiting around planets, and you have moons that are rising and falling, and then you have planets that are going in backwards. They're spinning backwards in another direction, and all of these things are happening all at the same time. And so they're creating all of this energies, and they're shifting dynamics all of the time. And we are in the middle of it trying to navigate. Sometimes it's not even you. Sometimes it's really the things going on around us that we don't have any control over, but we have to know that eventually the planets are going to go back forward. Eventually Mercury retrograde is going to stop. Mercury's going to stop going backwards, and it's going to go back forward. Eventually, things are going to calm in our lives. Eventually, we have to keep going, but we can't really stop, right? We can't be like, oh, you know what, Mercury, I'm good. I'm done. You got it. I'll tap out right here. Thank you. Like, no, we pretty much just go through Mercury till she's done, till it's done. And we navigate through that. And sometimes it's a heavy time. Sometimes you don't even recognize you're in it. Sometimes you feel it way more than you do other times. And it's in those times that you're paying attention to what's happening. So the next time it happens, you're better prepared. You remember what you did last time, what worked last time, what didn't, throughout all of the levels of life as they're happening. That would be what I would suggest as how to navigate through those times of fear, discomfort, conflict, asking for what you need. If you need something from someone, or you need someone to step back, or you need to communicate something to somebody, I think all of those things are important during those times, and being able to know that you're okay. This doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't mean that you have completely gone off the grid and you're just a nobody, or now you're never going to make it in life. Things happen. We bump our heads. We run into walls that we didn't realize was a wall. Those videos where you see people like booking it through something, and it's like a glass, and they like bow into it and they get up. I see one video where the girl got up and she walked over like an inch, and she went again thinking it was open, and it wasn't again. She ran into this glass like 4 times before her brain connected to step over and put her hand out to see, is this an opening? It was a video I seen. It was crazy. I don't know if she was doing it on purpose, but she legit, the first time, she did not do it on purpose. She really ran into that thing. And then she was like, oh, okay. So she just moved over, and then she did it again. And then she moved over again. She did it again. And then she went this way and did it. And then eventually something in her brain was like, okay, fill up again until you feel the opening, since you just can't see it. Since you just can't see it, do something different to get you to the next level. And that's what she did. And that's how she got to the next level. That's how she got through the door. Sometimes that's going to happen to us. It's a part of the process. And if you allow the process to do it, to just do the process, you will start to realize how it all flows together, how this thing was needed in order for this to come through, that this was needed in order for me to recognize this, that I needed to go through this bad relationship to recognize I don't ever want to be in a relationship like that again. I needed to go through that to recognize that I'm worth more than that, or I needed to go to a job and bust my ass for 5 years, day in, day out, staying late, working on weekends, taking work home, missing family time, doing everything. And then they laid everybody off, and I was the first one in the office that they called in, for me to recognize that I worked too hard for that little piece of change. And then I was the first one to be let go. Oh, no, no, no. I'm worth more than that. I bring more to the table. Sometimes we have to go through things to recognize stuff that helps us get to the next level. And it is tough. It's not always great. And usually it doesn't feel good because it really is foreign. We don't know what it is. It's like, what is happening? So, very much so. Hi, nice of you to join. Hello there, welcome. To my hi. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. Yes, lots of good questions, lots of good feedback and conversation going on in the chats. So yeah, is there any other questions? Anything else anybody would like to share, talk about before I get off of here? Because I did rush home. I didn't even eat, and to be honest, it's probably like 9 something, so it's probably too late. I love when talking about relationships. Oh, yes. I do too. I do too. I don't know that that's my strong area in real life, but I like to talk about relationships. You get a lot of information and insight just by talking and hearing other people sharing experiences, stories. For sure, I like that too. Definitely talking about relationships. I think right now on social media, for sure, like my TikTok and stuff is all about relationships and dating and how to date and what people are looking for, what they're not. And everybody's giving everybody advice. And there's so much stuff out there that you really have to be thinking for what makes the most logical sense for yourself, and what you're really after as far as relationships, and recognizing the things that you've outgrown, the things that you really want, the things that are important to you now that maybe weren't important a few years back. And just all of that is important. So for sure, I like talking about relationships as well. My shirt, let me see, I think I see about a shirt. Did I? What does your shirt mean? Oh, it says perfectly imperfect. So I'm very imperfect, very much so, flawed and all, but I am perfect in all of that. I saw this shirt and I was like, absolutely. So I bought it. But that's what it means. That's what it says, perfectly imperfect. And that is exactly what it means. Even though we're not perfect, even though we go through stuff, even though we feel like we have failed or we've done things that we're not proud of, we are still perfect beings. We are still worth everything we want. We are still valuable. We still add value. We are still worth it all. And it's okay to not be perfect. I said that in a few videos before. I never aim to be perfect at all. By any stretch of the imagination, it is too hard to try to be perfect. And it's unrealistic to me. And then not only that, everybody's definition of perfect is different. So I am perfect the way that I am because there's so many great things about me, even though I'm not perfect. And who came up with perfect? Like, perfect according to who? The president, society, like, um it's really hard to be honest. It's really hard to be with honest friends. Yes, friendships, friendships and relationships and family, I think, take like the woo of a lot of people, and they're all relationships because they're all a ship. They're all a part of something. They should all be going somewhere. right? They should all be on a move, on a mission. They should be shipping, going out. Um, and sometimes those are the hardest ones because we do value them, and there's so much value put on friendships and relationships that it can be very hard. So the only thing you really can do is just continue to be honest. Your honesty with yourself and with those around you. And the right people will find you. The right people will come. Again, it's going to feel uncomfortable when you start losing people that you thought were your friends. It's going to get uncomfortable when you're like, okay, I used to have like 8 people I could call to go out on a Friday night. And now I'm sitting at home with like one person and they on vacation or they at work or whatever, right? Like it does feel a little, but there's other growth, there's other areas that are happening that are good that our time could be going towards rather than focusing on the negatives of stuff. And eventually the right people, the right situations will come, and we are in essence making room for that by letting some stuff go and people go that don't serve us. So I would agree with that. I love it. Thank you. Yes. Do you have Instagram? I do. Yes. My IG handle is, it's the same. It's chatting, but I think it's chatting underscore with underscore C. So it's the exact same. It's chatting with C. It's just underscores in between because I couldn't do it um, the whole way through. Yes, I am on Instagram. I do have a gram. I am on there. I just got on TikTok a little while ago, but I don't have a lot of like TikToks up yet. I'm still learning TikTok, but more so because when I get on TikTok, I get caught up in TikTok and all the videos because there's just so many and people going live and stuff. But and that one's the same. Chatting with C. Everything is chatting with C. There is no other chatting with C out there because nobody can chat like C. Hello, hey. Okay. Last question for the night. Let me see. What are some key questions that what are some key questions that you think you should ask someone when considering them as a roommate? Oh, gosh, I haven't had a roommate in a long time. Some key questions to ask someone. I'm sure there are some key questions. Are they a night person? Are they a morning person? I think those kind of things. Um, are they like a host kind of person? They like to host a lot of gatherings and have people over. I think that's a good question. I would say there's a lot of questions, but my one thing would be ask for some pay stubs. Absolutely. Let me see your pay stubs. Like, let me know that's real. I was gonna say that's funny that you say that because I was gonna say there are a lot of questions. However, I would be more, if you know me, I'm more of an observer. So I would be like, I'd want to, I would hope that, I don't know if I had come to your house, like if this is somebody that you know, so like you've been to their house before, so you know how they live and like like, oh, okay, every time I go over there, their house is clean and I popped up on them on like a Tuesday and like it wasn't completely terrible. Or every time I go to their house, like the toilet's nasty and there's food everywhere. Like, so if it's somebody that you know like that, like those are observed. You don't even need to ask that kind of stuff, right? Like you can just observe that, like, that's going to be a nasty roommate. Just a different kind of roommate. Let me not put a word out there on them people. But I think, those are, I think you have to ask yourself what's important to you in a roommate. Like, what are you, what do you think is important in a situation? And then ask them that. Are they someone who likes to have a lot of company? I think that's a big one. Although the thing about it is like you ask people these questions, it's just like dating. You ask men or women questions and they all give you these great answers. And then 2 months in, all of a sudden it's like they never said those things like 2 months ago. Like, I thought you didn't have animals. Oh, yeah, I didn't, but this one's been staying at my mom's house. I just went and got her. It's my mom's dog, but it's mine, but it's my dog, but it's my mom's, but I'm bringing it here because, right? Like, I thought you didn't like cats kind of deal. So I don't know so much are so many questions necessarily because, again, people tell us what they think we want to hear. As I would be more probably inclined to be really voiceful about your expectations and about who you are and allow them the opportunity to do the same. If you know that you're a morning person, I would be like, thinking about moving in, just so you know, like I'm really a morning person. I like to be up by 5, and I like to make my smoothies before I go to work around like 7ish. Are you usually up around that time? Is that, like this is what I do. I'm a night person. So, when the sun go down, don't be looking for me because I be outside. Okay. I like to stroll in at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I'm a real night out kind of person. I think things like that, like telling someone who you are and what your thing is, and then allowing them the same thing and then being like, oh, okay, like that's something I could deal with or something I can't. And from there, the questions will probably start to arise that you'll think about, that you'll want to know, and vice versa. They'll be listening to you like, oh, okay, let me get a little more clarity on what you mean by that. I think, are people if you're living with someone of the same sex, are they single? Are they in a relationship? Is probably a good question. Is your boyfriend going to be staying over? Or if you want to do the opposite way and be like, I, don't mind company and stuff, but I just want to make sure we're on the same page as far as, men or, whatever, coming over or staying the night, moving in. I'm definitely not for no man moving in. I'm definitely not for, I think it really comes down to just being really communicative about what you're expecting and then just about who you are. Don't hide who you are. Don't try to be the good roommate that you want this person to think you are. Be who you are. Hey, I like to drink and I like to smoke. Is that going to be a problem? Because I'm not about to be smoking outside on the balcony in 50-degree weather. Like, be honest. And they may say like, okay, I don't like smoke in the house, but maybe we could find a place with a garage. Would you be cool with that? That's fine. I mean, the conversation starting and then kind of spew it from there would be what I would say. If it is a random person that you do not know, like you're thinking about being a roommate with somebody off Craigslist, I would say no until you've met with them a couple of times and really vibe. I think energy is going to be key. I think your intuition is going to be key. I think picking up on those things and paying attention to them and not writing them off is going to be key. I think the red flag. If you think it's a red flag, it feels like a red flag, it flies like a flag, and it's red, it's a red flag. Don't try to turn it green. Don't try to make it white. Go with it. It's a flag and move on. There may be another roommate around the corner who's a better match. And so you maybe don't need to take this roommate when the flags, the energy, the vibe is not there. It's off. Definitely, do they work? Do they have a job? Again, people, that really doesn't carry so much weight as much as how long have you been at your job, maybe? Because I can have a job today and then in 3 months have a different job. There's some people like that in the world where they change jobs quite a bit. I don't know people directly or anything, but there's some people in the world who are like that. It just is what it is. Like, it keeps a job, it just may not be the same job. So that's what I would say. Would be some good starting places for sure. I think it's important that you write down or really think about what you are looking for in a roommate. And then also not putting so much expectation on this person to be this. They're going to be them as well as you're going to be you. And there are going to be up days. There are going to be down days. There's going to be ebb and flow in that as well. Living with someone for sure is always going to have that. There's going to be stuff that people do that irk you. I mean, that's with anybody that you live with, whether it's family, it's a spouse, it's a roommate, it's a friend, it's a cousin. um so going into it even with that mindset is going to be important too. How would you ask someone to see their pay stubs? Are they moving in like with you? Like you are the person and they're moving into like a room in your house, because then that's a part of the application process, right? Like, oh, let me have your pay stubs. Can I get a copy of your check stubs? You can email them to me, whatever. Like that's a part of the application process. So that's easy. They're expecting that. If it's more like you and somebody are going to like move in together and you're going to go find a place and put your name on stuff, then the apartment people are going to be doing that, right? Um, and then what if there's someone like, do they have to have a job? Do they have to have like a pay stub? Because what if they're in the service industry and they make all their money off tips? And their pay stub is going to say like $7.25 an hour, hourly minimum wage. Then their pay stub really don't matter. Like you really don't even need that because that's not where the money's coming from. What if they're getting alimony or they have a trust or something? Like, so then it just gets weird. So people can tell us anything really. I mean, do you have a way to pay for this? Can you successfully do this? Like, where do you live now? Have you ever lived on your own? Um, you know, Again, if it's somebody that you know and you've been around them, then you've probably have observed, are they the people who every time you guys go out, like somebody's got to pay for it, or let me give it back to you on Tuesday, or, ooh, I was right. Oh, girl, I had to, like, are they that person? Because then you like their pay stubs don't matter. They can have a job all day and they just don't take care of business. I guess would be the other way to look at it. So, I think a lot of it again comes down to just energy, vibes, trusting your instincts. Does it make sense? Is it going to add value to you? Can you find the benefits of this? Um, Nothing again is guaranteed. You're not obligated to stay or do anything in this world, except I believe if you have kids. Like I think sometimes like that's like the one for me in my brain that you can't like, oh, you know what? Actually, I quit. But everything else to me is negotiable. Everything else can, this isn't working. um and if that comes to that too, then being able to do that. I mean, the economy, the times that we're living in, I know it sounds crazy, right? It sounds like that would be a good idea, yes. But then also, if you're paying attention, Lifetime and Netflix, they got all these videos and documentaries and interviews with people who lived with random people or have roommates and the situation went left and now everybody's scared to live with people. So there's so much happening that you really have to feel for yourself what makes sense and really follow it and listen to your throughout the whole process and make sure that it feels right for you. Even though somebody who's probably 50 or 60 would be like, oh, hell no, I wouldn't have no roommate, nobody I don't know. And like they would be freaked out. As where somebody who's 20 is probably like, 6 of us want to get a house and we can all get a room and like do it up. I mean, that's happening, and people are stacking money and they're paying credit and they're putting themselves in better positions and they're having people to hang out with and a home to go to. I mean, so whatever really works for you and whatever you think is important to make you feel comfortable with moving in with this person, are the questions that you should be asking for sure. Yeah. Let me see. LOL. How would you ask them for their price? That's so funny. Awesome. Okay, guys. Well, I think we have gone longer than any other Fridays. This was a whole hour and a half. Thank y'all so much for participating and coming to chat with me this Friday. This was some good conversation, a great topic. I enjoy hearing you guys' feedback and comments. Please keep your questions coming. I look forward to these on Fridays. I think I'm getting more comfortable and better. I'm hoping the next one we'll be able to do the video stuff too for people who want to get on video and ask questions. And I think I have that all set up. So there is like a live on this on my YouTube right now that is like 2 minutes and it says like live stream or something. That was me testing it. So it's not a real video. I just don't know how to delete stuff I don't want on here. So I have to be very careful what I post. um, but I thank you guys all so much for being here. I hope you have a great and awesome weekend. I hope that you are staying positive, that you are riding the waves of life and trusting that you are much like the tree, grounded, and that you are going to go through seasons and you are going to evolve into what you are supposed to do. And even while you are going through the seasons and the changes, you are still beneficial, you are still adding value, you are still serving a purpose. So don't let that stop you from continuing to evolve and not just be existing and aging. We're so much more than that. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for chatting with C. Have a great and awesome weekend. Thank you guys. Okay, let me see. Mm, okay, I think it's up here. Okay.